What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can automate an insurance agency on make.com. Let's get started. So here are the processes of an insurance agency that you can set up automations for. The first one will be collecting leads via Typeform and adding the leads to your project management tool. We are going to collect leads from various sources like marketing campaigns, lead magnets, referrals via Typeform, and then add them to our project management tool, which in this case, we are using monday.com. With the leads, we're going to onboard them. So we can set up a client onboarding system to onboard these clients that we just collected from our various lead sources. And we're going to set up the client onboarding system by sending them online forms and various documents to assist them in the onboarding process. We're also going to send them automated emails to provide clients with the necessary information, policy details, and welcome materials. The other process that we can automate is the policy issuance process. Here, they are going to select a policy, and then we're going to generate policy documents and send the documents to them for them to sign. The other process that we're going to automate is payment processing. We're going to set up automated billing systems that allow clients to pay online. We're also going to send them automated reminders for upcoming payments or overdue balances. The other process that we're going to automate is the client communication. We're going to set up emails for regular communications like newsletters, policy updates, reminders for renewals or check-ins, customer support for common inquiries. I'm going to show you how you can automate this process on make.com. The other process is the document management. So here, I'll show you how you can automate the storage, retrieval, and sharing of policy documents and client files using make.com. The last process that we're going to automate is the renewal process, where we're going to set up automated email reminders for policy renewals and send the client's notification well in advance. So the first process we're going to start is the process of adding the leads from Typeform to monday.com. On Monday, I've created a workspace called Insurance Agency and a board called Agency Clients. So here's where we're going to add our leads after we capture them on Typeform. So we're collecting the full name, the assignee, the created date, the status, which we have intake, onboard, life insurance, health insurance, payment processing, upcoming payment, client communication, policy renewal as our status. We're also collecting the first name, last name, company name, email, and phone number. Now, after we capture the leads, we would like to add them to our project management tool over here. I've created an insurance agency form on Typeform, and on the form, we are collecting their personal information. So we're collecting the information like their first name, last name, phone number, email, and company they work in. So this is the data that we're going to add on Monday. On Make, I've created a folder and named it Insurance Agency Automation System. So here's where we're going to have all the automations that we're going to set up for an insurance agency. So on our folder, I'm going to click on Create a New Scenario. Now, on our scenario, I will rename it to Add Leads to Monday via Typeform. And then here, I'll search for Typeform. Then click on Typeform. I'm going to watch responses. So I'm going to choose watch response. And then later on, we can choose when to start. Create a connection between Typeform and Make by clicking on Add, then you can rename it and click on Save. Since I had already created a connection, I'm just going to choose my connection right here and then choose my form ID. We're going to choose Automating an Insurance Agency Form. Since that's the name of our form, then click on OK. On Typeform, you see we have two different watch responses trigger. So this one's the one that I picked. For the one with the ACID only, you'll need to choose when to start. But for the one that says instant, it triggers instantly after the form has been submitted. So here, we'll need to choose where to start. So we're going to choose from now, but you can also choose since a specific date or manually. Then click on OK. We can choose to list our responses, but before we do that, on Tools, I'll choose to sleep and delay for 3 seconds. This will allow for it to add the responses to our list response module. So on Typeform, I'm going to click on list responses, and then pick our form. Then it says limit, you can limit it to 1 instead of 10. Then click on OK. On Typeform, I'll click on share. I'll copy the link and paste it on a new tab. On our form, we can fill our form. So here I'll click on start. Here you can say Paul. Here I'm going to add the phone number. Then we can add the email, say Paul Jacob at annex.com. Then the company they work at Annex, then click on submit. Thanks for filling in the form. Now, when we go back to automation and run it, you'll see that we're getting all the answers over here. So we're getting Paul, Jacob, phone number, email, and company they work in. Now we can add this information to our project management tool, which in this case we're using Monday. So here, I'll search for Monday, then search for create an item module. You'll have to connect Monday and make using the API key. So here, to connect, I'm going to click on add. Then on the API key, we're going to add an API key. To find the API key, just click on profile, then administration, then connection, then click on API, and you'll find the API token right here, which you can copy and paste it right here on the API token. But since I had already created a connection, I'm going to close and just choose my connection. Now with my connection, I'm going to add our item name. For the item name, I'm going to add the first and last name of our lead or prospect. So here, I'm going to select the first name, then space, add the last name. And then here, we're going to choose the board ID, which in this case is agency clients as our board ID. For the group ID, it's also agency clients. So this is our board ID and group ID. Now, let us choose the values of the information that we would like to add on Monday. So here, I'll click on add an item. And then for the column ID, I'm going to choose assignee. I'm going to choose myself as the assignee. So here I'm going to say person and then choose myself. Then the second column ID, I'll choose the company name. And for the value, we're going to add the company. For the other item that we're going to select is the created date. The created date, we can add the submitted at. The other item we're going to select is the email. We're going to add the value for the email, which is this is the value for the email. We can also add it as a text. The other column we're going to add is the first name. Here we can select the value for the first name. Then click on add another item. The column ID will be, this time around, we'll add the last name. And the value, we're going to add the value for the last name. Then click on add an item. We're going to add the phone number. Here, we're going to add the value for the phone number. And then the country code, which in this case, we're going to use US. And lastly, the other item that we're going to add is the status. So here I'll choose the status and I'll label it as intake, since these prospects are in the intake stage. So here I'll choose intake and then click on OK. Run automation and see if we are going to add a new client on monday.com right here. Now to do that, instead of filling in the form again, I'm going to choose to start from our previous submission. So this is our previous submission and click on OK. So now I'll run it. It ran successfully and it added our lead or prospect that we capture from Typeform to our project management tool, which in this case we're using Monday. Now, when we go to Monday, you will see a new client that we just added right here. Paul, Jacob, we added them today. The status is intake. We have their first and last name, the company they work in, their email and phone number. We did that by setting up this simple automation on make.com. So the first part of our insurance agency process is complete. Now let us try to onboard these clients. To create an onboarding system for an insurance agency, I'm going to go back to our folder. Now on our folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to client onboarding for an insurance agency. On Monday, one of the status that we have over here is onboard. So we'll set up a webhook that is triggered after we change our status to onboard. To do that, here, I'll search for webhook, then click on custom webhook. Here, I'll click on add and then rename our webhook to client onboarding. Then click on save. Here, I'll copy this address and then head over to Monday. Here, I'll click on integrate. Then click on webhook. And I'd like to send a webhook when the status changes to something. So I'll use this template. Here, I'll choose another account connection. So here, I'll use another account and paste the URL over here. So here, I'll paste the URL. Then here, I'll click on OK and run our webhook. Then over here, I'll click on connect. It says it failed to communicate with the URL provided. But here it gives us this challenge response right here. So I'll connect the URL manually. So here on webhooks, I'll click on webhook response. Then here I'll return this response. Then click on OK. When we run it, then here click on connect. You can see it runs successfully over here. We no longer need the webhook response, so we can delete it. Then here we can set up our webhook. So we'd like to send our webhook when our status changes to onboard. Then click on create automation. Now over here, we can test our webhook if it's working properly. So when I run our webhook, and over here change the status of one of our clients, you can see it ran successfully. This is a client that we changed their status. Now you can see we're not getting their email, their phone number, or any other details right here. Now to get their details on Monday, I'll search for get an item. Then click on get an item module. On Monday, I'll add the ID right here. The ID is going to be Pulse ID. The board ID is going to be agency clients. Then click on OK. Now to get the data here, I'll copy the Pulse ID and then run our module right here by pasting the Pulse ID and clicking on OK. Now you can see we're getting all this data right here. So for example, we're getting the email, phone number, first name, last name, and the company they work in. Now we can begin onboarding this client. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to send them an email with an online form that has all the onboarding questions we're going to ask our client. On Typeform, I've created an onboarding form called Insurance Agency Onboarding Form. Here we're welcoming them to Lux Insurance Agency, and we're telling them, please take a moment to complete this form so we can provide personalized coverage options. Your privacy is our priority, and all information will be kept confidential. So the first question that we're asking them is, what type of insurance are you interested in? Are they interested in health, life, business, home, or auto insurance? The other question that we're asking them is, are you currently insured with another provider? Then they can select either yes or no. We're also asking them, have you filed any insurance claim in the last 5 years? Then they can either say yes or no. And the other question we're asking them is, which best describe your current insurance coverage needs? The other question is, what is your primary reason for seeking insurance? And then they can type in their reason right here. The other question that we're asking them is, what is your current annual income? And then they can pick the annual income over here. And lastly, we're asking them, how did you hear about our insurance agency? Either referrals, online search, social media advertisement, or other sources. This is the onboarding form that we're going to send our clients to fill in all these details as we onboard them. Now on Make, I'll choose to send an email. So on email, I'll click on send an email. I'll rename this email to onboarding form email. And then click on OK. On our onboarding form email, I chose the right connection. And then here, I'll add the email address of our client that we got from Monday. So this is the email address that we'll add right here. Now the subject line of the email could be on the lines of complete your insurance application with us today. And then the content of the email could be on the lines of hi, first name. The first name we're getting it from here. As part of our onboarding process, we've made it easy for you to get started by filling out our online insurance form. This will help us better understand your needs and create the right coverage option for you. In addition to completing the form, you'll have the opportunity to securely upload any necessary documents like ID, proof of address, existing policies directly within our form. In our form, you can also add the option for them to upload documents. And now the rest of the email could be in the lines of, please click the link below to complete the form at your convenience. And then here, we are adding the link to our online form. So this is the form. And to get the link to the form, click on share. And here, you'll see the link to our form. So here, just copy it and come and paste it right here. And the rest of the email is on the lines of, if you have any questions or need assistance while filling out the form, do not hesitate to reach out. We're here to make the process as smooth as possible. Looking forward to working with you. Best regards, Kim. The email that we are sending them so they can fill in the onboarding form. So I'll click on OK. After sending them the online form, we can also send them emails providing the clients with the necessary information, policy details, and welcome materials. On my Google Drive, I have this onboarding checklist. This checklist, we have the links for the necessary information that we would like to get from the client. We also have links to all the documents that we're going to send the client. I'll search for Drive. And then on Drive, I'm going to search for files. I'll choose our folder. So our folder is called onboarding. So here I'll choose onboarding. I'll choose to retrieve files and folders. I'll do a full text search. And for the query, I'm going to add our document, which is onboarding checklist. Then here we can limit it to 1 and then click on OK. So here we can run this module only. You can see we're getting our document over here. Now, with this document, we can create a shareable link that we're going to attach it to an email and send it to our client. So here on Google Drive, I'll choose get a share link. For the file ID, I'm going to add our file ID. The role, you can either choose owner, writer, commenter, or reader. I'm going to leave it as reader. And then for the type, we can say anyone with a link, then click on OK. Then here, the next thing I'll do here is on email, I'm going to search for send an email module. This email, we are sending them welcome materials. I'll rename this email to welcome material email and click on OK. Now for our welcome material email, here we're going to add our email address. In our email address, we're going to add the client's email address from over here. Then the content of the email could be on the lines of hi, first name. We're excited to have you with us and look forward to assisting you with your insurance needs. Attached, you'll find our welcome materials, which include a guide to our services and policies, important contact information, answers to common questions about our coverage, next step in the onboarding process, then link to the materials. We're going to add a shareable link of the document that we got from our Drive. And then the rest of the email could be in the lines of, please take a moment to review the materials and let us know if you have any questions. We're here to ensure that everything goes smoothly and you feel confident in your coverage. Thank you again for choosing us. We're looking forward to working with you. Best regards, Kim. And click on OK. The other thing that we can send them the policy details and the necessary information. On our folder, I've created this document and renamed it to policy document. So this is a document that we're going to get and send to our client, summarizing all the policies in our insurance agency. So here, since we are retrieving the document from the same folder, I'll highlight these modules and then copy the modules. Then I'll paste the modules over here. Then I'll attach it to our flow. This email will no longer be the welcome material email. It will be the policy detail email. I'll rename it to policy detail email. And then click on OK. Now, here, instead of finding the onboarding checklist, we're going to find the policy document. Then click on OK. Let's see if we're going to find the document. You can see we're getting the document. So now we're going to create the share link over here and send the link via this email. On our policy detail email, we're going to add the email address of our client from Monday. And the subject line is in the lines of important information and your policy details. And then the content of the email is on the lines of, hi, first name. I'm pleased to provide you with all the necessary information and details regarding your insurance policy with us. Attached, you'll find your policy overview, including the coverage limits and premiums. You're also going to find a summary of the benefits and any additional coverage options. You're also going to find the key terms and conditions. And you're also going to find the important contact information for claims and support. And the link to the document. We're going to link this document that we got from over here. So the link will be from this module right here. The rest of the email could be in the lines of, please take a few moments to review your policy details carefully. If you have any questions or need clarification, do not hesitate to reach out. We're here to ensure that you have a full understanding of your coverage and how it works for you. Thank you for trusting us with your insurance needs. We're excited to be working with you. Best regards, Ken. And click on OK. So this is the email that we are sending them with the details of the policy. Now, the only thing that is left is adding filters to our automation. So here, I'd like to wait 1 day after sending the onboarding form to send the material email. So here, I'll set the condition as date should equal, and here I'll add days, then here I'll say now. So now will be the dates and time our webhook is triggered, and here we're going to wait for 1 day, and then click on OK. So now after 1 day, we are going to get the welcome materials, create a link for the materials, and send them via this email. Here we're also going to set up another filter. This time around we can wait 2 days, and then the condition we can set it up as, we can say date should equal, and then add the number of days, and then here we can add now, and then add 2 days, then click on OK. So we're going to wait another 2 days to send the policy detailed email. Now to test if automation is working perfectly, I'll click on run once. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to onboard. It triggers our webhook, and we're getting the data of the client that we just changed their status, and we are sending them the onboarding form email right here. After 1 day, we're going to get the welcome materials, and we're going to send them the welcome materials via this email right here. After 2 days, we are going to get the policy details. We're going to create the link to the policy detail document and send the document via email using this module right here. So this is a simple client onboarding automation system we can set up for an insurance agency. The next process that we're going to set up is a policy issuance process. To set up the automation, on our folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. The first policy that we're going to set up is for life insurance. If the client selects life insurance as the policy that they want, would like to trigger this webhook that will create the policy document, and then we are going to send them the document via email by setting up this automation right here. So on Monday, one of the status that we have right here is a life insurance. We also have another one for the health insurance. Now, this one is going to be for life insurance. So we would like to trigger this automation by setting up a webhook. So here, I'll click on webhook, then click on custom webhook. Then here, I'll click on add to rename our webhook. So here, I'll rename this to life insurance webhook, then click on save, then copy the address to clipboard. Then on Monday, I'll click on integrate, and then click on webhook. Here, I would like to send a webhook when the status changes to something. So I'll use these as our templates. Here, I'll choose another account connection, and then paste the link that we just copied right here. So here, I'll click on OK and run this webhook. Then here, I'll click on connect. Let's connect the URL manually. So here, on webhooks, I'll click on webhook response. Like we did previously, we're going to return this webhook response. I'll run the webhook, and then over here, click on connect. You can see it runs successfully. You can remove the response since you no longer need it, and set up the webhook. So we would like to send a webhook when the status changes to life insurance, and then click on create automation. Now, on our webhook, we can test if our webhook is running perfectly. So we can run it. On Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to life insurance. You can see it's running successfully. We got the client that we changed their status. To get the information, I'll copy the policy ID. And then here, on Monday, I'll search for get an item. Then click on get an item. I'll add our policy ID. And the board ID over here will be agency clients. And click on OK. Now, I'll run our automation and then change the status to one of our clients to life insurance. You can see we're getting the client that we just changed the status, and we're getting all the details over here. Getting their first name, last name, company name, email, and phone number. So now here, we can create the life insurance policy, then go ahead and send it to our client via email. So you can choose to create a policy via tools like PandaDoc or Google Docs. But since this is just an example, I'll choose to use a simple Google Docs. So here I'll search for Google Docs. Then you can, if you have a template, you can create the document from a template or create the document. I'm going to choose to create the document right here. To create the document, I will name it our client right here, then add policy. This will be the name of our document. Then here we can add the content of the policy document. So placeholder, we can add all these details right here. Policy overview, the coverage type, premium and payment information, deductible limits, terms and conditions, claims and support, signatures. You can add all those details over here. Then the last thing that we're going to do, we're going to choose the document's location. In our case, I've chosen files. Then click on OK. You can choose to personalize the policy document by using AI. So here, you can also add ChatGPT, or cloud, so you can write a personalized life insurance policy for that specific client. But since this is just an example, I'm going to just leave it as is and auto align it. We can rename it to life policy document. Click on OK. And now here we can send this document via email to our clients. On emails, I'll click on send an email and then rename this email to policy insurance email. Then click on OK. Email address, we're going to add the email address of our client right here. The subject line will be on the lines of the insurance policy document, review and sign it. And then here we can say hi, first name. Attach the link to your insurance policy document with Lux Insurance Agency. Please take a moment to review it and provide your signature to finalize your coverage. Review and sign your document right here. And then here we can add the link to the document. We can add the web view link. And then the document includes important details about your coverage, premiums, and terms. If you have any questions or need clarification, feel free to reach out. We're here to assist you. Key details to review: coverage type and limits, payments, schedule and premiums, and claim process and support contacts. Once you've reviewed the document, please sign it electronically using the link provided to activate your policy. If everything is in order, no further action is needed, and your coverage will begin on, and then you can add the effective date. Thank you again for trusting us with your insurance needs. We look forward to working with you. Best regards, Kim. Then click on OK. Now to test our automation, I'm going to run it. I'll change the status of one of our clients to life insurance, which triggers our webhook, then creates our document, and sends the document via this email over here. This one was for life insurance policy. We can also create another one for health insurance policy. So here on our folder, I'll click on create a new scenario, and I'll rename this one to policy insurance, health insurance. So like we did with the previous one, I'm going to create a webhook. I'll rename this one to health insurance webhook. Click on save, and then copy the link and then click on OK. So we like to trigger this webhook when our status changes to health insurance. So here I'll click on integrate and webhooks. And I'll like to send a webhook when our status changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. Then here I'll use another account and paste the link over here. I'll run our webhook, and then here I'll click on connect. You can see it says fail to communicate with URL provider, so we need to connect the URL manually like we did previously. We're going to search for webhook and then webhook response and try to return the webhook response. Then click on OK. So now when we run a webhook, then click on connect, you can see it ran successfully. Now we can remove the response since we no longer need it. And now here we can set up our webhook. So we like to send a webhook when our status changes to health insurance, and click on create automation. Now to test our webhook, I'll run it, then change the status of one of our clients to health insurance. You can see it ran successfully, and it's getting the client that we changed the status. To get all that information on Monday, I'll get an item, then click on get an item module. I'll copy the pulse ID, and then on Monday the ID will be the pulse ID. And then for the board ID, we're going to add the agency clients as our board ID. Then click on OK. Now to get the details, I'll run this by adding the pulse ID over here that we just copied, and click on OK. And now we're getting all the information right here, including first, last name, company name, email, and phone number. Our health insurance policy document creation and signing the document will be similar to the one that we did previously right here. So I can copy these two modules and paste them over here. Then connect them, then auto align them. We'll rename this to health policy document, then click on OK. And remember, we can use AI to write a personalized health policy document for this client. These will be the policy issuance email. We can write the email and send them the document for them to review and sign like we did previously, and click on OK. Now to test if automation works perfectly, I'll run it, change the status of one of our clients to health insurance. You can see it triggers our webhook. We're getting the data of the client that we changed their status, and we are creating a health policy document for them and sending the policy document via email using this email module right here. You can also add more policies if you're offering more policies in your agency. The only difference is you're going to write a specific policy document depending on what the client chose. Policy issuance process was the third process that we can automate in an insurance agency. Now, the fourth process that we could automate is the payment process. Here, we're going to set up automated billing system that allows clients to pay online. We're also going to set up automated email reminders to send to clients for upcoming payments or if they have overdue balances. Now let us set up these automation on Make. On our insurance agency automation system folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to payment processing, automated billing system that allow clients to pay using Stripe. I'd like to trigger our automation by setting up a webhook on Make on Monday. One of the status that we have here is the payment processing. So we'd like when the status changes to payment processing to trigger a webhook right here for this automation. So here, I'll search for webhooks, then click on custom webhook. Then here, I'll click on add, then rename our webhook to payment processing. Then click on save. Then here, I'll copy this link and click on OK. And then on Monday, I'll click on integrate, then click on webhook. I like to send our webhook when our status changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. I'll choose another account and then paste the link that we just copied from our webhook right here. You can also run the webhook and here click on connect. It says this failed to communicate with the URL provided. So we'll need to connect the URL using the webhook response. So on webhook, click on webhook response. And we're going to return this challenge response. Another challenge over here. Then click on OK. So now when we run our webhook, then on Monday, click on connect. That ran successfully. Now we can remove the webhook response since we no longer need it. And then we can set up our webhook. So we like to send our webhook when our status changes to payment processing. Then click on create automation. Now we can test our webhook if it's working perfectly. So I'll run once and then change the status of one of our clients to payment processing. You can see it triggers our webhook and we're getting the name of the client whose status we changed. Now to get all the details on Monday, I'll search for get an item. Then click on get an item module. And then for the ID, I'm going to add the policy ID right here. For the board ID, I'll add agency clients as our board ID, then click on OK. Now, I'll copy this policy ID and run this module by pasting the policy ID, clicking on OK. Now you can see we're getting the details of our client right here. So we're getting the first name, last name, company name, email, and phone number. Here, I'll search for Stripe and then click on create a payment intent. For the amount, here we'll add the amount they would like for them to pay. So if it's $2,000, we can add $2,000 right here. But we need to add an extra 2 zeros since the amount that you add right here will be in cents. So we'll add 2 extra zeros to convert the cents into dollars. So the 200,000 right here means this is just $2,000. The currency, our currency will be USD. Here you can add the description, then add the recipient email. You can add the recipient email right here. Now you can proceed to choose the payment method types, the customer ID, the payment method, the shipping address, and all this other information right here. But since this is just an example, I'm going just to add the amount and the currency, the description, and the recipient email, then click on OK. And now we can send them an email confirming the payment intent to them. On emails, I'll click on send an email. And then I'll rename this email to confirm intent email. Then click on OK. For the email address, we're going to add the email address of our client, which is this one right here. And then the subject line, you can say action required, payment authorization for, then we can add the first name. And the content of the email, we can say hi, first name. The content of the email could be on the lines of hi, first name. We've created a payment intent for, and then we add in the amount right here. Regarding the insurance policy, please follow the link below to authorize it and complete the payment. And here we can add the URL of the payment right here. Once the payment is processed, you'll receive a confirmation from us If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to reach out. Thank you for your prompt action. Best regards, Kim. Then click on OK. Now to test it, I'll just run it. Then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to payment processing. And you can see right here that we triggered our webhook by changing the status of one of our clients to payment processing. We got their data right here. We created a payment intent and send them the confirmation intent email right here. So it's a simple automated billing system that allows clients to pay using Stripe. Let us set up another automation that sends automated reminders for upcoming payments or overdue balances. On our insurance agency automation system folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. I will rename our scenario to payment processing, send automated reminders for upcoming payments or overdue balances. The same way we did with our previous automation where we are triggering this automation by setting up a webhook. Here, I'll also create a webhook, and then click on custom webhook. And I would like to trigger this webhook after the status of one of our clients changes to upcoming payments. I'll add a webhook and rename our webhook to upcoming payments. Then click on save. Here I'll copy the address of our webhook, then click on OK. Then on Monday, I'll click on integrate, then click on webhook. And I would like to send a webhook when the status changes to something. So here I'll use this as our template. Then click on use another account and paste the link that we just copied from our webhook right here. I'll also run our webhook. On Monday, I'll click on connect. You can see it says failed to communicate with the URL provided. So we'll need to connect the URL manually by returning this challenge response right here. Search for webhook, then webhook response, and the challenge right here. So I'll try to return this challenge response, then click on OK. I'll run this automation, and then on Monday, I'll click on connect. You can see it ran successfully. I'll delete this response since we no longer need it. And then on Monday, we'd like to send a webhook when the status changes to upcoming payments. Then click on create automation. To test our webhook, I'll run it. And then I'll change the status of one of our webhook to upcoming payment. You can see there's our webhook, and we are getting the specific client whose status we changed, but we're not getting their data. Now to get their data, on Monday, I'm going to search for get an item. Then click on get an item. For the ID, I'm going to the pulse ID. For the board ID, our board ID is going to be agency clients. Then I'll click on OK. Here, I'll copy the pulse ID, then run our module by pasting the pulse ID that we just copied, clicking on OK. And now here we have all the data of our clients, like their first name, last name, company name, email, and their phone number. Now we can set up automated reminders for upcoming payments or overdue balances. I'm going to use Stripe as our payment provider. So I'll search for Stripe and click on Stripe. Now to check if our client has overdue balances or has upcoming payments, we're going to first of all search for the customer. We're going to search via their email. So here I'll add the email address, which is going to be this email right here. We can limit it to one since it's just an example. Then click on OK. After searching for our customer, I'm going to search for an invoice. I'll search, then click on search invoice. The reason why we are searching for invoice is to see if there is any of our clients with an open invoice that's unpaid. So with the customer ID, after we search for the customer, we're going to add the customer ID right here. The status of the invoice is going to be open. Then we can limit it to one. You can also choose the collection method. In our case, we would like to send an invoice. And then click on OK. Then in automation, we would like to send two emails. One to remind our client that they have an upcoming payment that they need to make. And the other one to send the client the email if they have overdue balances. On flow control, I'll click on router. Then here, we can send an email. I'll also send an email with a second route. Email, I will rename it to overdue balance email. Then click on OK. Then I will rename this to upcoming payments email. Then click on OK. To set up the filter for this email, I'm going to click on set up a filter and label it to balance exists. And then here we can say amount due exists. Then click on OK. So this will be the filter for us to send this email. And now to set up the filter for the second email, here I'll click on set up a filter. And here we can say payment reminder as our label. And the condition, we can say date. We're going to send this email 5 days before the due date. So here the date will equal to, here we can add days. And then here we can add the due date. So we can add the due date right here. And we would like to send this email 5 days before the due date. So we're going to add -5 to send this email 5 days before the due date and click on OK. For our overdue balance email, the email address, we are adding the email address of our client from Monday. So this is the email address that we are adding right here. The subject line could be on the lines of reminder, outstanding balance on your account. The subject line could be on the lines of reminder, outstanding balance on your account. And then the content of the email could be on the lines of hi, first name. I wanted to send a quick reminder that there is an existing balance of, then we are adding the amount due from over here on your account. To avoid any disruptions in service, we kindly ask that you set up the balance at your earliest convenience. You can make the payment through Stripe by clicking this invoice URL right here. And the invoice URL we're getting, this is the invoice URL right here. If you have any questions or need assistance with the payment, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. Best regards, Dennis. And then click on OK. For the upcoming payments email, we are also adding the email address from our project management tool right here. The subject line could be in the lines of friendly reminder, upcoming payment due soon. And then the content of the email is on the lines of hi, first name. This is just a friendly reminder that your upcoming payment is due on. And then here we're adding the due date, which is this due date right here. You don't need to take any action, as your payment will be processed automatically via Stripe on the scheduled date. However, if you have any questions or need to update your payment information, feel free to reach out or visit your account page. Thank you for your continued business and trust in our services. We appreciate your prompt attention to this matter. Best regards, Dennis. Then click on OK. So with this simple automation, we are sending automated reminders to our clients for upcoming payments or if they have overdue balances in their account. To test if automation is working properly, I'll run it. And then on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to upcoming payments. And over here, you can see we triggered our webhook by changing the status of one of our clients. Then we are getting the details of the client whose status we changed to upcoming payments. We are searching for the customer and getting their details and searching for an open invoice. And then you can see that the client doesn't have any balance existing or an upcoming payment. But if they had an upcoming payments, we'll send this email. Or if they had overdue balance on their account, we'll send them this email. So with the first automation and the second automation, we've automated the payment processing process for an insurance agency. The next process that we're going to automate is the client communication process, where here we are going to set up automated emails that we're going to send the clients to automate regular communications like newsletters, policy updates, reminders for renewals or check-ins, or customer support. Now, let us set up the automation. On our insurance agency automation system folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to client communication, where we are going to send newsletter, policy update, customer support, and reminder for check-in emails. So here, I'll trigger this automation by changing the status of one of our clients to client communication. So on Monday, I have one of our status as client communication. So I'll set up a webhook right here and trigger it after the status of one of our clients changes to client communication. So here, I'll search for webhooks, then click on custom webhook. On webhook, I'll click on add, then rename our webhook to client communication. Then click on save. Here I'll copy the address to clipboard. Then on Monday, I'll click on integrate. Then click on webhook. And then I would like to send a webhook when our status changes to something. So I'll use this as our template. Here I'll choose another account and then paste the link that we just copied right here. Here, I'll click on OK and run our webhook. Then click on Connect on Monday. Here it says, fail to communicate with the URL provided. But here, it returns this challenge response. So on webhook, I'll click on webhook response. And then here, I'll try to return this response. So here I'll have the challenge response, then click on OK. So I'll run it. And then here I'll click on Connect. You can see that it ran successfully. So here we can delete the response since we no longer need it. And then we can set up our webhook. So we would like to send our webhook when the status changes to client communication. Then I'll click on Create Automation. To test the webhook if it's working properly, I'll run it. I'll change the status of one of our clients to client communication. You can see that it triggered our webhook, and our webhook is running successfully. So here is the client that we changed the status to client communication. So I'll copy the pulse ID. And now to get all the details of this specific client, on Monday, I'll search for get an item, then click on get an item module. For the ID, I'm going to add our pulse ID. For the board ID, I'll choose agency clients as our board ID, then click on OK. Then I'll run this module by pasting the pulse ID and clicking on OK. We're getting the details of our clients. We're here like their first name, last name, company name, their email, and phone number. Now we can set up this series of emails automation right here. So the first email that we'll set up is the newsletter email. So here on emails, I'll click on send an email. This email, I will rename it to newsletter email. Then click on OK. And here I'll clone this email 3 times. And clone it again. This is going to be the second one. And clone this one again, the third time. Then auto align it. Now for this email, I will rename it to policy updates email. And click on OK. I will rename the third one to customer support email. And then click on OK. For the last email, I will rename it to check-in email. Then click on OK. We can also add filters to prevent all these emails from being sent at the same time. For the policy updates email, I'll set up a filter and send it 2 days later. So here, I'll label it to wait 2 days. And the condition, I can say the date should equal. Then I'm going to add days. And here, I'll say now, from when the webhook is triggered, we'll wait 2 days to send the policy updates email. And then for the customer support email, we can also wait 2 days. So I'll label it to wait 2 days, and the condition will be the date should equal to. Then we can add 2 days after the policy update was sent. Then click on OK. And then for the check-in email, we can choose to send these 5 days later. I'll label it to wait 5 days, and the condition will be date should equal. And then here we're going to add days, and click on now. And we're going to add 5 days after the customer support email has been sent to our client. Now we can auto align it. Now let us preview the content of the newsletter email. Now for the email address, we are adding the email address of our client right here, And then the subject line, we're saying stay protected and informed, updates from us. And then we're updating them about the policy review reminder, special discounts or bundled insurance, claims process simplified, referral program, tips for staying safe, and more. And then we're saying thank you for being a valued client. Your protection and peace of mind are always our priority. Stay safe and protected. Best regards. Okay, so that's the newsletter email. We're also sending them the policy updates email, which here we're also adding the email address from our client that we got from Monday. And then the subject line of the email is on the lines of important updates to your insurance policy, what you need to know. And then they need to be aware of the coverage enhancements, adjustments to premium, updated terms and conditions, new resource and policy holders. And then we're concluding the emailers. We're here to answer any questions and ensure that your coverage remains perfect for your needs. Reach out and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you for trusting us with insurance needs. Best regards, Kim. So that was a policy update email. For the customer support email, we're adding the email address from Monday. And then the subject lines on the lines of we're here for you, customer support updates. Then we are adding the customer support updates, like the new and improved support center, the faster claim processing, personalized policy support, and then we're asking them to contact us anytime. Then we're concluding the email by saying, thank you for being a valued client. We're here to make your insurance experience as simple and stress-free as possible. If you need help with anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. Best regards, Kim. And clicking on OK. And then lastly, the checking email, where we are adding the email address from our Monday module. And then the subject lines on the lines of checking in, how can we assist you? And the content is on the lines of hi, first name. I wanted to take a moment to check in and see how you're doing since we last connected. And then we're telling them here a few things that you might consider, maybe the policy review, client support, question and answers. And then we are concluding the email by saying if there's anything specific you'd like to discuss, feel free to reply to this email. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for being a valued client. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Best regards, Kim. And then clicking on OK. So this is a simple client communication automation where we are sending them a newsletter email, policy updates, customer support email, and checking in email. With that automation, we automated this client communication process for an insurance agency. The next automation that we're going to set up is for the documents management process, where we're going to automate the storage, retrieval, and sharing of policy documents and clients' files, ensuring compliance with regulations. Let us set up the automation on make.com. To set up the automation, on our insurance agency automation system folder, I'll click on create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to document management, where this automation will automate the storage, retrieval, and sharing of policy documents and client files. Our trigger will be watch emails. So on emails, I'll click on watch emails as our trigger. Now, for our trigger, we're going to choose a folder. Our folder will be inbox, criteria will be all emails. And then here, you can choose to filter the emails with the sender email or the recipient email, the subject line, or a particular phrase. Then click on OK. And then here, you can choose to start from now, emails from after a specific date, all emails, all select the first email manually. But I'm going to choose from now, then click on OK. I'm going to rename our watch emails module to receive documents, then click on OK. Since we are receiving documents over here, I'll add an iterator. Then here, we're going to iterate attachments, then click on OK. Then we're going to upload the attachments to Google Drive. So here, I'll search for Drive, then click on Google Drive. Then here, we'll upload the documents to Google Drive. You can rename it to process email attachments. Click on OK. And then here, we're going to store documents. So we can rename this to store documents and click on OK. Here, I'm going to add the folder and choose a folder that we would like to store our documents. You can say files and click on OK. The next module we're going to add on our drive is we're going to search for the particular documents. So here we're going to retrieve the documents. So I'm going to choose the folder, files. Then you can retrieve files and folder. You can search using full text search or enter custom search query or search within file or folder names. Then here we can add the query. Click on OK. So here for this module, we are retrieving the documents. Again, on Google Drive, we can create a shareable link to send it via email to a member of our team for compliance. Here, I'll add our file ID, which will be the file ID right here. Role, we can say reader, owner, writer, or commenter. For the type, we can say anyone with a link, then click on OK. So here, we can rename this to share documents. Then click on OK. Now with the share link, we can send the documents to a member of our team for approval. Here, I'll rename this to send documents. Then click. Now, since we are sending the email to a member of our team, we can add the specific email address over here. And then the subject line, we can say important documents attached. And here we're saying, hi, John. I've attached the necessary documents for your review. And we're adding the links to the documents. Please take a moment to review these documents and let me know if you have any questions. or require further clarification, I'm here to help. If everything looks good, please confirm recipient and let me know if there are any next steps you'd like to take. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to hearing from you. Best regards, Kim. And click on OK. This could be a simple document management automation that automates the process of receiving the documents, processing the email attachments, sorting the documents, retrieving the documents, sharing the documents, and sending the documents for approval to the right member of our team. Now, with this simple automation, we have automated the document management process for an insurance agency. Now, the last process that we can automate is the renewal process. To automate the renewal process for an insurance agency, on our insurance agency automation system folder, I'll create a new scenario. I'll rename our scenario to renewal process, policy renewal reminder notification. Now, I'll set up a webhook that is triggered after the status of one of our clients changes to policy renewal. So here, I'll click on webhook, then click on custom webhook. Here, I'll click on add, and then here I'll rename it to policy renewal. Then click on save. Here I'll copy the link of this webhook, and then click on integrate. Then here I'll click on webhooks, then click on when a status changes to something, send a webhook. Here I'll choose an account connection and choose another account, then paste the link that we just copied over here. Here I'll click on OK, then run our webhook. Here I'll click on connect the webhook URL. It says fail to communicate with the URL provided. Like we did previously, I'm going to search for webhook, then webhook response, and try to return the webhook response over here. Then here I'll click on OK and run our webhook. Then here I'll click on connect. You can see it ran successfully. You can delete the webhook response since we no longer need it. And then over here, you can set up a webhook when a status changes to policy renewal. Then click on create automation. Then now to test our webhook, I'll run it. Then change the status of one of our clients to policy renewal. You can see it triggers a webhook, and we're getting the specific client whose status we just changed to policy renewal. Now, to get all their data, like we did previously, on Monday, I'm going to search for get an item module, then click on get an item. The ID, I'm going to add our policy ID, and then for the board ID, I'm going to add agency clients as our board ID, then click on OK. Here, I'll copy our policy ID, and then run this job by pasting our policy ID over here. And now you can see on the mappable column values, we're getting all their details, including like first name, last name, company name, email, and phone number. Here we can send a policy renewal email reminder to our client, reminding them to renew their policy. So on emails, I'll click on send an email. I'll rename this email to policy renewal reminder. Then click on OK. For our email, I'm going to add the email address of the client that we got from Monday. So this is the email address that we're going to add right here. The subject line will be in the lines of upcoming policy renewal reminder. And then the content of the email could be in the lines of hi, first name. I'm reaching out to remind you that your insurance policy with us will be up for renewal on, and then we're adding the expiration date. To ensure you have uninterrupted coverage, we wanted to give you an early reminder. And then here we're adding the important details like policy number, current coverage, renewal date, estimated premium amount. And then the rest of the email could be in the lines of to make the renewal process as smooth as possible, we encourage you to review your policy and let us know if you'd like to make any changes or updates. And then we are telling them what to do next. We are concluding the email by saying, thank you for choosing us. We appreciate your trust and look forward to continuing to serve you. Best regards, Kim. And click on OK. So this is a policy renewal email reminder that we are sending to our clients for them to renew their policy if the expiration date is almost due. Now to test our automation, I'll run it. And on Monday, I'll change the status of one of our clients to policy renewal. triggers our webhook, and we are getting the data of the client whose status we just changed to policy renewal, and we are sending them the policy renewal email reminder right here. So with this simple automation, we have automated the renewal process for an insurance agency. So these are the automations that we just set up, automating the processes for an insurance agency. The first automation, we are adding leads from Typeform to our project management tool, which in this case we're using money.com. Then the second automation, we are automating the client onboarding process for an insurance agency. The third point we are automating is the policy insurance. The first one is for the life insurance policy. The other one is for the health insurance policy. The other automation that we are setting up is payment processing process. We are setting up an automated billing system that allows clients to pay using Stripe. The other payment processing process is an automation that sends automated email reminders for upcoming payments and overdue balances. The other process that we're automating is a client communication process, where we are sending the client a newsletter, policy update, customer support, and check-in email. The other process that we're automating is the document management process, where we're automating the storage, retrieval, and sharing of policy documents and client files. Is the renewal process, where we are sending the client policy renewal reminder notifications using the simple automation on make.com. So with these automations, we have automated all these processes an insurance agency. So this is a comprehensive video showing you how you can automate an insurance agency using make.com. If you have an automation or a system in mind that you'd like for me to create, just comment down below in the comment section. And if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to set up the entire automation or system from scratch. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.